Hey, Greg, thank you. You guys, I'm going to start off with this tweet because I think some of you don't realize exactly how hazardous those conditions are out there on the road. We just received this tweet from Carrollton Police Department. One of their squad cars was hit. You guys know police officers, firefighters, emergency responders, first responders, all of them, they absolutely have to go into work. So take a look at what happened to the back of their squad car here. It happened right at Marsh and Bell Mead. Again, this is from the Carrollton Police Department, and they are basically yelling at us as we've been trying to yell at you guys all morning. If you don't have to get out, stay at home, okay? And this is one of the squad cars that was hit, but I also had an incident in Dallas County where another squad car was hit. And again, that's folks trying to tap those brakes, trying to slow down as they hit those patches of ice. And sometimes you just kind of spin out of control. So again, I just retweeted this, and they're basically, again, screaming, stay at home if you can here this morning. We have closures as well all across the Metroplex. That purple, never a good look on our map. This is just outside of the Metroplex from Van Zandt all the way to Kaufman County, 20 westbound. It is still closed from FM 47 to 2965. That's going to impact those drivers coming in from East Texas, Ken, trying to get over into Dallas. 35E, not far from Love Field Airport, northbound, right at Spur 482. I did check on this one on my camera here just before I came out. That one is still ongoing. It's causing about a 20+ minute delay. You guys know you're going to be delayed this morning. If you're someone who absolutely has to get out, please use caution. Make sure you give yourself some extra time, okay? I-30, getting over Lake Ray Hubbard. If you're in Rockwall, for whatever reason, you got to get into Dallas, you're going to run into some trouble trying to get over Lake Ray Hubbard. Again, those elevated surfaces is where we're seeing most of those problems. But just like that tweet from Carrollton PD indicated, it's not just the elevated surfaces. No matter where you're going, you are probably going to run into even a thin glaze of ice out there, which could cause some issues for those of you out there on the roadway. So let's talk about this one, northbound 35E at Post Oak Drive. This is for those of you up in Denton County, Corinth. Looks like they just shut all of that down. Early on when I was looking at this camera angle, they were at least allowing folks to get by on that right-hand side. Not the case right now. Northbound 35E right at Post Oak. This is in Corinth. You can see that traffic currently backed up at least a mile or so. I'll continue to monitor that one and let you know what I come up with. But of course, I know it's slick in that area, so it's going to be causing some issues for you guys out there. Remember, I told you we had another squad car that was hit way early on. It was thanks to this accident, northbound Spur 408, which is still all shut down from I-20 all the way to Keeneland Parkway. Again, that purple on our map there. So this is for those drivers out there in the DeSoto, Lancaster, Duncanville area, southern Dallas County. If you typically take westbound I-20 to go northbound on the spur, you're not going to be able to do that this morning. Cockrell Hill, one option for you, Duncanville Road. Again, it just depends on what's happening. I'll also say, I saw that they were allowing people to get on at Loop 12 right at Jefferson. Folks are still slipping and sliding even as they try to get onto that entry ramp. So just be careful. In addition to that one issue I just told you about, Loop 12 is closed, again, right up toward Jefferson. Once you get to Jefferson, you can get on, but it is still not a good situation. I told you about Keller early on in one of our last hits. The Colony Police also tweeted out Windhaven Parkway. That's a major thoroughfare there that a lot of folks use, completely closed off in both directions. You're not going to be able to travel on it. Cleburne Police Department, this is over in Johnson County, getting into Tarrant County. You are going to run into some issues. They tweeted this out way early this morning, basically saying the road conditions out that way have been slowly deteriorating. And that's what we're running into across the Metroplex. If you absolutely have to get out there, please make sure you give yourself 8 to 10 seconds behind the car in front of you, if not more. And of course, do not use cruise controls on those icy as well as on those slippery surfaces. That's a look at your morning drive. Mark and Kara, I believe I'm sending it back to you.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked so much about the morning drive, and if you are staying home, that's not necessarily an easy place either if you're trying to get out and walk the dogs. I've had multiple people text message me and say, whoa, it's like a sheet of ice in my neighborhood. So Dallas County has a lot of icing problems.
Yeah, Chris Adegi has been outdoors this morning, keeping a lookout of the Mixmaster on I-35 East and I-30 in downtown Dallas. And Chris, I'm curious how you've seen things progress over the time you've been out and about this morning.
Well, you know, Mark, it is actually, I was just thinking, kind of eerie how few cars there are out on the road. I mean, normally this time of morning, the Mixmaster, this would be bumper to bumper, and you can see just not a whole lot of cars at all. I mean, I guess there's a couple now here going up on the ramp on the Mixmaster, but very quiet. We have been keeping an eye on this interchange just because it is such a busy one. It's also one that has several overpasses, and when we got out here in the early morning hours, we did see one car get stranded up there on that little curve on the 8th Street Colorado ramp, and you will notice the police cars are still down here. They have the cones out. They have blocked that ramp. They don't want any more cars going up there, I don't think. I think, you know, that car that was stalled has long been cleared. I think now these officers are out here. They just don't want anybody running into that same type issue, going uphill, bridge, slipping and sliding. We know how that works. And the cars that we do see out on the road are all taking it very slow. So that is good. We have been asking cars to do that. And the other thing we have pointed out all morning long is the roadway. Now, typically when we have ice, we have accumulation. A few weeks ago when we had that first round of Arctic weather, we could kind of feel it hitting our face as it was falling. That is not the case today. Today it's more of a drizzle. You can barely feel it at all. And when it lands on the road, you can't really tell that any ice is there. However, it is slick. I've done this demonstration a few times this morning where even when you're walking, you have to be really careful. Though it just looks wet, but it is slick. You can just glide all over it, whether you're walking or whether you're driving. So that's something to keep in mind. If it looks wet, assume that it is slick. Watch your step, and especially be careful where you're driving. Take it slow, drop your miles per hour. The good news is, as I mentioned though, because of the more districts that have closed down, probably some businesses as well, we're not seeing near as many cars out on the road as we saw yesterday morning when we had hundreds of crashes in the city of Dallas alone. Mark, Kara.
Chris, off camera this morning, we've talked a little bit about our respective drives into work this morning. I know Tashara and Kara both talked about the ice they experienced on the roadways. When you came in this morning and when you guys were getting to where you are now, how would you describe the conditions?
Well, fortunately for me, I did not have to get on a highway, no bridges, no overpasses, so that's good. However, I was coming around a little curve here, and I made the mistake that I just talked about where it didn't look like there was ice on the road. However, it was slick, and I did drift a little bit. Fortunately, there were no other cars on the road that time of morning, but that made me realize, okay, things are a lot more slick than they look. But again, if you can avoid those bridges and overpasses, then that is the route to take. Look for an alternate route. In fact, when I was telling you about that car that was stalled up there, I noticed there was a truck that was about to take it before they closed it off, was about to take the ramp. They saw what was up ahead and were able to put their truck in reverse, back up, and then head on the flatter ground. So that just shows that people are being very careful, at least that driver was, and that's what we want. Don't risk it if you don't have to. In fact, I don't even think that these officers, they're not blocking it because there's a stalled vehicle up ahead. They're blocking it now just because I don't think they want anybody getting into the same issue.